Welcome back to the Hockey Show. Now, today, I'm going to be telling you exactly why your Western Conference team is going to be winning the Stanley Cup this year. So let's start off with the Vegas Golden Knights, currently ranked number one in the NHL right now, and in the Pacific Division. So right now, right off the bat, Vegas, they have an easy trip to the conference finals. Whoever they face in round one, whether it's the Oilers, whether it's the Avalanche, whether it's the Minnesota Wild, Nashville, whatever these teams end up being a wild card spot, they're going. I know this is positive, but right now we're talking about Vegas, and I just don't think any of these teams are up to bat with Vegas right now. They just don't. They're not. Whether you compare them to offense, you can say some of these teams maybe match up to them. Let's say Colorado, if they're healthy, matches them on offense. Defense, you could say the Wild, or maybe even the actually, I don't even know. I don't know. Maybe you could say the Predators on defense. You could match up with them. And then on goaltending, goaltending's always kind of back and forth. But you could say, sure, like Jake Ottinger's better than Thompson or something. But all around, this team is just really well structured together. And any team they face in the first round isn't going to be up to snuff. Second round, the Kraken or the Kings, I do think that will end up being the matchup there. And between them, I think the Kraken could give them a little bit of a run for their money, and the Kings could. I think the Kings are very well put together, but Vegas is going to get past them probably in 5 or 6 games. And then in the conference finals where things might get interesting, but just how well they're structured together and how Thompson just was able to stand up last year and he is this year, and Vegas as a whole is a winning atmosphere, I think Vegas could really go far and win the Stanley Cup. And with their new additions and just how well they've gotten together, I think Vegas has a real shot at winning the Stanley Cup this year. They just have it all down. Defense, goaltending, and offense, just down pat. The Kraken are an interesting one. They're kind of like the Vegas Golden Knights in their year 1 but 2.0. They allowed them to marinate one season. They got the team together. They didn't rush anything. They let them get together as a team, play not very good, and get a pretty solid draft pick with Shane Wright. And now this year they go out, they get some guys come in. They get Andre Burakovsky, which was an amazing move. He now leads the team in points. And this team, it is like the Golden Knights year 1, except times 2.0, because they marinated themselves. Now here they are in their second year. And the thing about it is that, think William Karlsson had his crazy year with scoring 41 goals. Now look at him. He's nothing. So the Kraken, who knows, maybe they catch lightning in a bottle and a guy like Andre Burakovsky scores 41 goals or something this year. Or Jordan Eberle or someone, or maybe Jamie Alexiak steps up and wins the Norris Trophy. Who knows? Just all around, the Kraken, they're very well put together all around, and they don't really have any superstars. Burakovsky's playing good for them, but not really compared to other teams. And they're just a team that knows how to win games. And that's kind of how Vegas won in that first year, is that they just got the job done. They didn't really have, sure, William Karlsson, 41 goals, but they didn't really have a superstar player. They were just all around a good team that can win games. And that's all you can. And in the playoffs, that's what you need to be, is just a good team all around to win. And that is kind of the same point that goes for the LA Kings, is that I have an arrow going up to Seattle, because with the Kings, I could say the same thing about them, but for the Kraken, except that they're better. You compare their spots together, you want to say their number one guy. Let's say Burakovsky, they got Kopitar, So, all around, on defense, you want to say Vince Dunn's their best defenseman on the Kraken. Drew Doughty is a better defenseman. So for the LA Kings, they're kind of the Kraken, but just better. And they have the old guys, they have the veteranship, and they also have the young guys. They have Anze Kopitar, Jonathan Quick, Drew Doughty, all positions actually. They have goaltending, defense, and forwards. There's a veteran superstar that is leading the way for the younger guys. So Kaliev, Mott, you get all these guys learning from those guys, the veterans, and becoming a better team. And this team, those guys have won the Stanley Cup before together. So this team is very well put together, and Jonathan Quick in net, he is still amazing all around every single time he plays. Jonathan Quick, he is he is just as good as he has been. I mean, he can make incredible saves still, and he still does. And he's the type of goaltender that can still and has always been a guy that could steal a game in the playoffs. So the Kings, they still have it all down, and their new guys are coming up and are going to steal the show as well. And then we got the Edmonton Oilers. So obviously they have Connor McJesus, right? McDavid, we saw him do it last season. He can easily will a team into winning a series even. He himself, by his own, he can win a series. And now Leon Draisaitl can step up, and now that he has that playoff experience. I don't know if Evander Kane will make it back for playoffs. I'm not actually sure about that, but a guy like him, and we saw what he could do last season, but now they're going to come back with a revenge, and that they actually have that playoff experience and that want need. And now they have at least, I mean, Jack Campbell starting off pretty rocky, right? I think he's actually injured now. But Jack Campbell, even in the playoffs, if he plays the way he played for Toronto in the playoffs, I mean, incredible. If he can play that like that for Edmonton, that's what they needed. They needed that goaltender to stand on their head. I know Mike Smith was playing pretty good, but that's Mike Smith, you know? Like, they didn't, if that Campbell can do that, or if Stuart Skinner can now step up, then that would also be incredible. And Edmonton has it all, and they just have those, and then a couple guys. It's really more about the rest of the team giving McDavid and Draisaitl the chance to steal the game. The rest of the guys, when they're on the ice, they just need to not let the other team score 15 goals, and they'll be fine. Next, a team that did score a bunch of goals against them is the Calgary Flames. So, obviously, this team wants revenge. This team, they threw away their best players, and now their guys are coming back with a vengeance. Obviously, Huberdeau and Nazem Kadri on this team now. These guys are looking for that revenge tour. Lindholm is currently leading the team in points, and rightfully so. He was the last guy left in that whole line that led this team. And just, they're coming back with a vengeance. That's all I can really say, is that Jacob Markstrom in net. I mean, a goaltender like Jacob Markstrom can just completely hold down a team. I don't think he's a type of goalie that can... Jonathan Quick will make a crazy, incredible save, but Markstrom's the guy that doesn't do that because he doesn't need to. He's always in position, and he's just there to make the save, but he can still steal games. And Nazem Kadri, we saw what he could do in the playoffs last year with Colorado. Just all around this team, I'm guessing they really want that revenge, especially if they play against the Edmonton Oilers. They're going to want that revenge tour as well. So Calgary, they're out for vengeance, and they want what they lost last year, and now that they have a completely shifted team. So there you go. So the Vancouver Canucks, they have the pieces. Pedersen or Peter, I say Peterson, but people still say Pedersen, I don't know. Brock Besser, Bo Horvat, JT Miller, Kuzmenko even. This team, they do have the pieces offensively. Quinn Hughes, Ekman Larson. Like, they have defensive pieces as well. Tyler Myers. And then in net, Thatcher Demko and is it Spencer Martin is his name? Like, Thatcher Demko's all you need. If the pieces step up, this team really could be a heavy hitter. They could easily be up here where the Kings are even. It's just they had the very, very bad start to the season, and it's just drowned them, and we're still early in the year. But right now, just Vancouver, if their guys step up, because they have the pieces, they're kind of like a Buffalo situation where it's like all those years is just step up, just Reinhardt, just do something good like you're supposed to. So if the pieces finally do step up, they could win the cup. It's there, it's just they're not stepping. They're just not moving, really. And then the San Jose Sharks. The top guys are kicking right now. If this team... I think the Sharks are one of those teams that if they did make it into the playoffs, kind of like the Columbus Blue Jackets, where if they made it in at this point, they would do pretty. I think they would go far, and especially their top guys right now, because the top guys in the playoffs are kind of who. It's about depth, but the top guys are the ones that need to step up. And right now, if the playoffs started right now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Sharks could do pretty good. I mean, obviously the story, Carlson playing amazing, but even Logan Couture's doing pretty okay. So, and Timo Meier especially. So right now, the top guys are kicking. who knows? If they just could start winning some games and their goalies. Jim Reimer and Capo Kakinen, those guys in net. Reimer can steal games. He is incredible. I mean, we saw it with Carolina. Jim Reimer is, it's like he's going back in time. It's like he started off an average goalie, now he's like becoming better as he gets old. And then the Anaheim Ducks. So for them, I know it's kind of a stretch, but I mean they do have the pieces. It's just they're too young right now, like Zegras and Troy Terry, McTavish, Drysdale, like all these names. Like they, I mean it's kind of a stretch to kind of say for them to win. I know it's a stretch for some of these teams too, but I mean the Ducks, they if you went forward in time a little bit and you brought those guys in 2 years to now, maybe they have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. And I guess, but it would be kind of hard to say right now. So the Ducks, who knows? If their guys play the way they will when they're 25, then sure, they'll win the Stanley Cup this year. And then we've got the Winnipeg Jets on the Central Division. So the Jets have always been a team that I've said they just have everything. When this team makes it in the playoffs, they're gonna do well, and they usually do pretty good. And they still have it. Last year was just a down year. This year they're back in full power, and they have the forward strength. They have the star power. I mean, the Scheifele, Ehlers, Kyle Connor. I mean, oh my God, Kyle Connor's amazing. Pierre-Luc Dubois. Blake Wheeler is still a good player. I don't care what anyone says. Blake Wheeler, he's not incredible, but he's still a good player that I would want on my team. Defensively, they have Josh Morrissey. They have Neil Pionk even. Neil Pionk's incredible. They've got Dylan DeMello and Brendan Dillon. They got a few guys that can really make points on defense as well as play good defense. And then in net, even if they play bad defense, you have to beat Connor Hellebuck. I mean, this team top to bottom is just really well put together. I've always said that. I've said that for the last few years, and once I feel like they're kind of in a situation like the Tampa Bay Lightning where they just need to finally break through and they'll win the cup. And once they do, they could go on a run. I think the only difference is that Winnipeg is Winnipeg and they don't really have like that big crowd. They don't have that big, I mean, I know the fans in the arena are incredible, but like it's Winnipeg, you know? It's not Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is one of the biggest cities in the world, in the United States, and it's in Florida. Like there's a lot of energy in the city that they live in, and a lot of just, I mean, it's Florida, right? It's Florida. There's a beach there. Like, it's all incredible there. Winnipeg is, the joke is that it's like the worst place in the whole league. So I feel like that might be kind of the thing, is that you win a game and then you get to go outside and you get to be freezing, and that momentum just like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like the psychological side of the game of like the players themselves and like the way they live. So anyways, I don't even know what I'm talking about there. Winnipeg, they could win the cup. I just think they need to finally break through and that momentum keep rolling for them. Dallas, I wrote it on the board, but just wow. When I see a Stanley Cup team like the Lightning, is that they have a really strong top pair lines, and then it kind of, the rest of the lines are mainly just to just play as good as you can and just don't let us get scored on 50 times. And this is exactly how this team is built. They have two amazing lines. The bottom lines are just okay. They do their job. Defensively, they have that one superstar guy, Miro Heiskanen, like Victor Hedman. And then in net, they have the next best goalie ever. And I know I said Shesterkin isn't, but Ottinger has shown for 3 years straight now, when he was brought up in that first year in the bubble, again, when they went against, in the year with Khudobin, when they went up against Tampa, Ottinger came up and he played really good. The next year he gave it a chance. Last season he played really good, and now he's still playing really good. So Ottinger, in my eye, he is the next best goaltender, and he's continuing it just like Vasilevsky and Tampa Bay. So really, to me, Dallas is the next best team. I think that they have everything that they need to win a Stanley Cup. Minnesota, they have good defense, And they do. I mean, they have Kaprizov. Like, they have some guys that can really will them to a victory. They had to lose Kevin Fiala, which is a real pain. They still have Eriksson Ek, and they are given a benefit of a doubt with getting into, like, maybe the third or second spot with Avalanche being injured and out right now. They might have that boost to get in that first round, and maybe they could play up against a team that's not as good as the Avalanche, finally win that first round, and then go on and have that momentum to maybe take down a team like the Avalanche or the Jets, you know? So who knows? Maybe they just need to finally get those wins to get the confidence going, the ego. So they just never have that. Minnesota's never had that. As much as they've tried, they've never had it, and maybe they finally get it this year. The Avs, of course, the Stanley Cup champions. They're the defending, undisputed champions of the world. The Vegas Avalanche, the Colorado Avalanche, and the thing that's good about them, and that's the problem with some teams, is that they're still the same team that they were when they won the Cup, as long as their guys aren't injured, of course, because, you know, the whole team, 11 guys are injured right now. It's kind of hard, I mean, if they even make it to the playoffs at this point, so it's going to be tough for them, but if they made it in, they have just as good of a chance as they had last year to win the Cup. They just need to hopefully not run into a team that's better than them. The Predators, they have it all as well. The Predators, the Avalanche, and Dallas, and Winnipeg, and Vegas, I would say, are all pretty good Cup contenders. The Predators, I just think there's other teams that do what they do, but better. Like the Avs, like Dallas, like Colorado, that's what I already said, like Winnipeg, like the Golden Knights, is that there's teams that do what they do, but better. But who knows? Maybe because they don't really have that superstar forward that they really need. Forsberg is great, but he's just not like McKinnon. You know what I mean? And Duchesne isn't Rantanen, and Duchesne's not Rantanen, and Johansson isn't Landeskog. Defensively, I don't know. Roman Yossi's pretty good. They're kind of different from Mikhail Makar, so it's whatever there. In net, though, they do have a really good net presence with Lankinen and Saros. So the Predators, if they get into the playoffs, they're just I will say this. I will make a hot take here. I really think one of these teams are going to win. One of these teams here, Predators, Avalanche, the Stars, or Winnipeg, someone from the Central is going to win the Stanley Cup this year. So one of them, because they all have the same type of premise going on, one of them's going to break through. It's just a matter of which one does. St. Louis, this is literally the setup of the year that they won the 2019 Stanley Cup. They were all the way at the bottom of the league, and then their guys finally kicked into gear, and then they won the Stanley Cup with Gloria. So it's just kind of a coincidence, you know? Like, they were started bad. They're finally, I think they won a couple games now. Who knows? Maybe it's the same exact setup. The Coyotes, if they made it into the playoffs at this point, they will be unstoppable. Because if they found a way to get into the playoffs from where they are now, then something happened and now they're insanely good. I mean, could you imagine if a team like if the Coyotes made it into the playoffs in Mullet Arena, that place would be so on fire. I don't think the other team with full of college kids, that they would be terrified. The away team would be terrified for their lives and would run away and be too scared to score a goal. So the Coyotes would be unstoppable in the playoffs as long as they get there. And the Chicago Blackhawks, Kane and Taves cannot be denied. If they made it to the playoffs, they will be ungodly because they would have willed them throughout the season to get to the playoffs. And if they did that, then they can do it through the playoffs as well. So Kane and Taves will get their fourth Stanley Cup. So that's what it's going to happen. So that is why your team from the Western Conference is going to win the Stanley Cup this year. And that is all I have to say. So thank you for watching this. Please pick up your free subscription down below by hitting that red subscribe button. If you like this video, leave a like, not a dislike, but go down below to the comments section and tell me any tangents, rants, opinions, comments, concerns, suggestions, reviews, or feedback. And until next time, I have been your happily dressed host, Owen. Too sweet, and ta-ta for now.